We don't get there by throwing food at the scary thing or bribing them into going to see something. If I'm being honest, I don't like when people do that especially with people. I really don't like that. I know some people have a different take on that, but my whole thing is I don't want you to force your dog to come and see me. I want people to start respecting how dogs feel and then gauging it accordingly, right? If my dog is freaked out by somebody, I'm not going to be like, go see that person, especially a stranger. Like, this is the other thing. Let me just I'm going to put this out there, especially a stranger. It's one thing to be like, I know this person and they're okay. But I've seen people that have been like, their dog has been scared of somebody and they'll be like, oh, go see them. And they don't know that person. How do you know that the dog's not right? Like, how do you know? Right? So if you don't see it, right? If you don't respond to it the way a dog sees it, then you're no longer a partner in survival. Ooh, that's good. Ah, yes, that was good. Sometimes I say smart things today on the podcast. So you think it's fear, but that's not the problem. What am I talking about? Let's get into it. Ready to have a calm and peaceful life with your dog without the stress of those fear-based behaviors? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I've been there, overwhelmed by all the conflicting dog training advice and unsure of what to do next. But now I help dog lovers like you simplify your life with your dog by building confidence naturally, fostering trust, and addressing those fear-based challenges. So, if you're ready, stop chopping those chicken wieners and let's get to it. Hey there, friend. Just a very quick reminder that the Calm Down Dog Boot Camp, why did I say it like that? Anyway, it starts tomorrow. That's right, October 7th, and it's running tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you've got a dog, I mean, why wouldn't you want to be there? Like, honestly, this is free. It's a free event. It's 3 days. We're going to explore lots of different things. I'm going to show you an incredible video of reactivity transformed in under a minute, how that happened, why it happened, and most importantly, what can you do about it? Like, what can you do about it? So we're going to go live at 12 p.m. on Zoom. Replays are available to you if you can't make it live, but trust me, you want to be there live. Why? Because I'm giving away stuff to those that can attend live. So who is this for? If your dog is reactive, sensitive, misunderstood, or I'm just gonna put this out there. If you're just somebody who wants to lead with more intention, have a little bit more clarity, if you want a deeper connection and bond with your dog, then this is for you. No gimmicks, no quick fixes, just insight, curiosity, and a whole lot of how interesting. I want to see you there. This is how I get to actually see people, if I'm being real, right? It's talking in an empty room to a mic isn't as fun as being able to see your beautiful face on Zoom. So sign up at beyondobedience.ca/bootcamp. Get into the Facebook group, ask your questions. This is very interactive. If anybody knows, or if anybody knows, for those that know me, know that I go above and beyond when it comes to answering your questions, making sure that you feel like you've gotten something out of this boot camp. Like for real, you got to be there. beyondobedience.ca/bootcamp. See you there, friend. Well, hello, my beautiful friend. It is Tracy. Welcome to Beyond Obedience, the podcast. Super duper welcome if you're brand new. If you're brand new, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. If you didn't know, we talk about all things Beyond Obedience here at Beyond Obedience. Isn't that fun? Okay. Today's podcast episode, I am really super duper excited about because it's kind of the core of everything. It's the core of the whole purpose behind my online program and community, the Fearless Framework. And it comes from a place where most people, if you have a dog that has had any reaction to anything, anytime, anywhere, You may have been told that your dog's behavior problems are rooted in fear, that reactivity is rooted in fear. And the usual response is we need to fix that behavior. And by extension, it kind of leads us to believe that we have to fix that fear. And I wanted to sort of squash that myth today here on the podcast, because fear actually isn't the real problem. That's not what we're trying to fix. We don't actually want to fix fear. And the reason for that is because fear is normal. Not only is it normal, it's useful and it's necessary. It's a survival response. Now, can that response become exaggerated over time or displaced? Sure, absolutely. But we want to keep in mind that the core of it, that fear is something that your dog needs. It's what we all need. It's what keeps us all safe. So recently I was doing a little live in the Living Beyond Obedience group, and I was out with my new puppy Gunther. Oh, wait. I don't know if I have an awe. Do I have an awe? I don't think so. Anyway, I was out with my puppy Gunther, and I was literally just out and about because I had to drive my husband to a dentist appointment, and then I was walking around wondering why I decided to do that, because it took forever. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point is, I was out with Gunther. We were actually talking about, there was a question in the Living Beyond Obedience group that was asking me how I get dogs to go behind me. If you've been listening for a while, you know that quite often I will talk about this concept of putting myself in the conversation, right? Being a active participant in canine conversations. And we can't do that from behind the dog. And most times, especially when we're talking about reactivity or whatnot, and the dogs are lunging and jumping forward, we're standing behind the dog. We're not even in the conversation. We're not even in the conversation. So how can we influence our dogs? So you hear me talk about this a lot, about this idea that I like to make sure that I move my dogs behind me so that I'm part of the conversation. And many people have asked me how I do that. Now, I'm not going to get into that here. You're probably like, how do you do that? You can go to the Living Beyond Obedience group and watch that video. It's free. It's a free group. You can go hang out in there. But while I was there, I was talking about Gunther and how currently, right now, it's very easy for me to have Gunther go behind me because that's where he's naturally choosing to go. Now, obviously, some dogs are going to be, and some puppies are going to be a little bit more courageous than others. Gunther is a little bit cautious right now. And so for me, it's quite simple. When something startles him or scares him, his immediate response is actually to go behind me, which is so endearing, because what does that mean? That means he's asking me, hey, can you take care of that thing that has scared me? Now, what happens in a lot of cases, especially when we're starting off with puppies, is, and I've seen this time and time again, is that we will see the thing that they're scared of, and we will immediately say things like, oh, that's just blank, and that's nothing to be scared of. And then worse, in my opinion, we will actually then try to bribe the dog to go see the thing that they were scared of. And I have never really liked that route, so to speak. The reason for that is because I like to allow the dog to know that I saw it, and then we're going to deal with it together. I'm not going to send the dog up to it. I'm not going to throw food up towards it and be like, go see it. See, you're fine. I don't want that. I want to be like, yeah, that's something. Let's go look at it. And what ended up coming from this, and it happened sort of long after I turned off my camera because I was sitting there, as I had mentioned that Gunther was scared of the trucks. We were in some area he's never been in before, and there were big transport trucks that were going by, to which Gunther was like, what the actual is that? Because I don't think he's seen a truck, right? I live out in the country and I'm far up away from the road, and where he was born and where he lived for the first 10, 11 weeks of his life in the country as well. He might not have ever seen such a thing as a huge 18-wheeler. And if you think about it, that's pretty scary. That's pretty scary. So instead, what we did is the two of us sat. We just sat there. We just sat there and we watched trucks. And we watched trucks for, I'm going to say, like 25 minutes. Now, some people are going to say, I don't have 25 minutes to sit and watch trucks. Fair point. But if you do, I would much rather do that, because what ended up happening is he ended up being less and less freaked out. He ended up lying down beside me. We both started watching trucks go by. We regulated ourselves. We actually started to look at the trucks almost in tandem. And then it became something like we were trying to almost predict when the next truck was coming. And before I knew it, head on my lap, Gunther had fallen asleep. I woke him up. He kind of looked over and went, oh, those are those trucks. And then we left. That's how that whole thing played out. The fear was processed and supported to become neutral. Didn't want him to like it. Didn't need to like it. He just needed to recognize that that thing was not going to kill him. Now, some people might say, but Tracy, that thing could kill him. True. But in this moment where he was safe, he was protected enough to fall asleep. And as we move through all of the different stages that Gunther's going to go through, because there's going to be fear periods that he's going to go through. As he has those fear periods, he's going to know, okay, I'm freaked out. What do I do when I'm freaked out? I go see mom. We're going to figure this out together. And that, to me, is what I really, really want. Later on, we're walking down. We hear a bunch of fire trucks. And I actually was alerted to the fire trucks because we were up in the valley for this doctor's appointment. Currently, the valley here in Nova Scotia is still in flames. We've had lots and lots of fires here. One of the worst droughts, I don't even know how many years, is going on here in Nova Scotia right now. So fires are a big deal. And so immediately I heard the sirens and immediately looked over at them like, oh no. And he heard the sirens and he immediately looked over, and then he looked up at me and then sat down. And I was like, yep, let's sit down. So we sat and we watched the fire trucks go by. Interesting, right? It wasn't like, oh my gosh, what is that? It was like, okay, what are we going to do? Let's sit down. Let's take a beat and watch these things go by. And we did. Didn't take as long, but we shared that experience. I didn't bribe him. I didn't give him any cookies. I didn't do any of those things. And what happens in the end of this is we get almost like a co-regulation and not disconnection. Okay, so the reason why I really want to stress upon that is because fear is about survival. It is not misbehavior, right? Every dog, even the confident ones, will experience fear at some point in their life. It's not a flaw. It's actually part of their design. It's part of survival. So we don't want to train survival cues out of a dog. When we rush to fix fear, we often skip acknowledging it and leaning into it. Dogs need to know that we see the thing that they're reacting to. Okay? If we don't validate that, we are going to break trust, because remember, it's not about what you think about the threat. It's not about that at this point in time. It's about how the dog sees the threat. And I don't want to minimize my dog that sees something and is like, is this a threat? We want to be like, let's take a look at it. Now, later, as we build trust, as the dog starts to rely on us, that becomes less and less. It becomes just a check-in. Like, I was a little bit freaked out. Are you okay? They see that you're okay. They go, okay, no, I'm okay. That's going to come with time. But we don't get there by throwing food at the scary thing or bribing them into going to see something. If I'm being honest, I don't like when people do that, especially with people. I really don't like that. I know some people have a different take on that, but my whole thing is I don't want you to force your dog to come and see me. I want people to start respecting how dogs feel. and then gauging it accordingly, right? If my dog is freaked out by somebody, I'm not going to be like, go see that person, especially a stranger. Like, this is the other thing. Let me just I'm going to put this out there, especially a stranger. It's one thing to be like, I know this person and they're okay. But I've seen people that have been like, their dog has been scared of somebody and they'll be like, oh, go see them. And they don't know that person. How do you know that the dog's not right? Like, how do you know? Right? So if you don't see it, right? If you don't respond to it the way a dog sees it, then you're no longer a partner in survival. Ooh, that's good. Sometimes things come out of my mouth and I'm just like, that's good. Let's say that again. If you don't see the things that they see in the way that they see them, if you don't recognize threats the way a dog sees threats, then you are no longer a partner in survival. It might make you a treat dispenser. It might make you a good snuggle companion. But when it comes to the things that matter to dogs, you will no longer be a partner in that. They won't look to you. They won't turn to you. They won't trust you to have what it takes because you're missing all the things, right? And I think one of the common mistakes that I see is trying to train the behavior without addressing the experience. Like, I've seen so many people use place command or obedience to try to override a fear response. And I don't, right? Because it's a disconnect. It's not a connection, it's a command, right? And that's not the same thing. Connection, it's a command, right? And that's not the same thing. You get a dog then that's like, okay, I just have to sit here and work my way through, but you're not a part of it. You're just telling them what to do. It's not the same thing. I wish I could have actually taken a video or had somebody take a video of what it was that Gunther and I did in that moment, because it literally was us just hanging out and watching trucks go by for what I'm sure some people thought was a painfully long time. Imagine not being able to look at your phone for 25 minutes. Like, I was in it. We were watching trucks, right? So I think it's important. I really do think it's important. So sort of like, it's the leadership alternative, I guess, right? We're not going to fix fear. We're going to guide them through it. We're going to partner with them through it. We're going to stay present. We're going to stay calm. We're going to be curious. We're going to acknowledge the things in the environment. And in the end of it, we're going to be that safe point of reference for the dog. Okay? Fear isn't something I want to try to eliminate. I want it to be something that we walk through together. And here's the fun thing about it. As you do this, the more and more times you do this kind of work with the dog, it life layers and it becomes part of, I like to call it their brave bank. Especially for fearful dogs, or in this case, Gunther, who's just a little bit shy, or, he's learning lots of new things. I like to call it his brave bank. He gets the credit and it goes into his brave bank. And I was just there as a supporting role for him, but he gets that credit. And it's a difference. It's different. It's different from throwing a cookie at it and having them go and get the cookie. I've seen so many dogs that will take the treats and just snag a treat and go. And they didn't get over that fear. They did not get over that fear. Okay? So we want to practice being that partner in survival, not the fixer of fear. Okay? So there you go. That's my fun little tip about how fear is not the problem. I'm really passionate about it. And honestly, that's what the whole program, the Fearless Framework, is all about. It's learning how to be that partner in survival. Right? This isn't a training program. It's, people be like, how do I teach this? I don't know. I don't teach dogs anything. For someone's like, how do we teach that? I don't know. We're not about teaching. We're about being. We're about being here. We're not about teaching the dog. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. And I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. It's like two components that if you marry them together, you end up with magic. So Obedience and all of the training stuff is important. It gives you a shared language. It allows the dog to be able to cope in Humansville. It gives them some reference points, all of that stuff. It has its place. But many times what I see is people, especially people that focus primarily on obedience, they're working so hard, looking so hard at the dog, making sure that the dog is doing the things that I ask them to do, that they forget to look at themselves. And in a lot of cases, the communication that your body, your presence, and everything else that you're doing contradicts the words that you're saying. It contradicts the message that you're trying to portray. When you're trying to say to the dog, I need you to calm down and sit and do all that stuff, and they're freaking out because there's something over there, and you're not even looking at the thing they're freaking out at, it's a disconnect. They're literally saying to you, how can you possibly know what's going on when you're not even looking at the thing that is freaking me out? You're spending so much time trying to get me to look at you when I'm looking at that, and you're not even looking at that. And that thing is terrifying, right? So we want to make sure that we do both. We make sure that our body language, our mental, emotional state is congruent with the words that we're saying in our obedience. If you can do that, it's magic. Do I do that perfectly all the time? No, never. Not never, not never, never all the time. That's what I should have said. But we're constantly a work in progress. I am too. That's why I do this stuff, right? I am too. All right. So quick reminder to anybody who hasn't yet done this. If you're interested in stuff like this, then you need to be in the Calm Down Dog Boot Camp. It starts tomorrow. Okay, October 7th, 8th, and 9th. If you've got a dog, you got to be there. Why wouldn't you want to be there? Just get in the seats. Come and meet me. Hang out for 3 days. If you can't make it live, there'll be replays. I want to see you there. And can you do me a favor? This is me. This is me trying. I am not going to lie. I really dropped the ball on making sure that this information was out sooner about the boot camp. And so if you have a friend, if you know a lot of dog people, can you do me a solid and just let them know about the boot camp too? Give them the link, beyondobedience.ca/boot camp. Give them that link. Tell them to sign up. I'd like to meet your friends as well. Let's all get together, hang out, talk dogs. Why not? Why not? Listen, if you like this kind of thing and you like this episode, please do me a favor and let me know. Reach out to me, DM me, message me, email me, rate the show, do all the things. Let me know what's going on. As I say, I'm just a person sitting in a room staring at a wall. I want to see somebody. I want to see somebody. All right, I think that's it for me today. Hey, as always, my friend, get out there today and be the person that your dog thinks you are, because your dog thinks that you're amazing. And so do I. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is meant for entertainment and education purposes only and is not meant to replace hands-on professional training. If you're really struggling with your dog, please reach out to a professional in your area. All right, I think that's it. Bye for now.